I was looking at the state championships in Salida, and I was just checking out the course. I'm marked down the climbs because I'm, again, not awesome at them. They're not super steep. But I basically took that climb and I'm just trying to replicate it as much as I can for that event. Is that a good idea, do you think?
Well, it's the start of a good idea. I think that you're thinking the right way, but you have to think of, what is the context, right? So what intensity are you going to ride that climb at? Like, for example, there's a bunch of us that did Liège-Bastogne-Liège and those classics, which I think is similar to that, right? I'm not going to be able to go up the last climb with Philippe Gilbert, right? Like, that guy goes 1,000 watts for a kilometer or something like that, right? But maybe I can be in the breakaway, or I just want to survive the race, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm training on those short climbs in the zones that I'm going to need to ride those climbs in. So your race, right, they're not going to go up those short climbs at 700 watts every single time. They're probably going to go up those short climbs at 250 to 300 watts every single time. So when you're doing your short climb training, make sure that you're doing it in that context, like what you are actually going to go up those climbs in, not what you hope to go up those climbs in. Because it's easy when you just ride out there, you can just rip up the climb, at 200 or at 370 or 470 or whatever watts, right? But like as we saw with Scott, the last climb in nationals, which was for the win, that was like 1K long, 3 minutes long, right? 370 watts, best guys in the country, right? If you asked him if he could just go for 3 minutes, you think he could do 370 watts? Fuck yeah, he can do 3 minutes at 370 watts. He could probably do 500 watts for 3 minutes, right? But he trained that one zone at that length, which is the right amount that it would happen in the race. Okay. And the last thing I would say is make sure that you're doing those other efforts around the climbs. So on all the flats and all the loops, it's going to be in that 250 to 270 or 220 range, right? Like the majority of the race is going to have what we call medium, which is all those lower intensities. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you're doing lots, or not lots, but some of that intensity in addition to what you're going to be doing on that climb. So that's another good one. Another good.
It's almost always really hot there until it rains. And
Yeah.
It usually rains about 3 or 4, and that fills off nicely. But it can be like 95 degrees and feel like 105.
But that's another good thing is don't combine your training with heat acclimation. It's the heat acclimation is one training, and the training is another training. Like if you go and try to do them all at once, we're in that same recovery syndrome, right? Where you're in the hospital with heat stroke and whatever and zero power, right? So make sure that like use the sauna or go do on some easier rides with the high heat in the heat of the day. And then when you do your intensity and you do your hard stuff, do it in the morning or in the evening where you can recover. Because remember, it is all about recovery. So if you do it at the heat of the day, tons of work, long ride, you're exhausted, what's going to happen? It's going to take a week to recover from that, and that's going to set you back.
Cool, thank you.
I was just going to point out, this is one of those times where you ask a question and the answer invariably is get ahead of that scenario and train for it. And it is really, I'm not good at it yet. I talked strategy with Tom several times, and it was him that kind of saw it before it happened, made the training happen. It was going to simulate the race, and it all came together. But if I could offer anything, it's anticipate what you're going to be up against realistically and prepare that way. That's it. I mean, that gives you the best chance of not trying to keep lucky and pull rabbit out of that hat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking pretty well. I'm a Cat 4. I can move up to Cat 3 right now, but I kind of don't want to. Yeah.
It's all the same in Colorado, huh? Like, we have guys that are Cat 4 and Cat 1, and they all do the same performance. It's unbelievable here. Like, and the 50-plus Cat 4 is insane. They're doing stuff that the Cat 1 pro guys are doing. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, in Colorado, it should just be all one category pro.
That's true. I mean, I've ridden with Cat 1 and Cat 2 guys in California, and I'm like, I can keep up with these
Oh,
guys.
the Colorado guys that go anywhere else, they just eat people for breakfast. No offense, like other places, but I mean, it's just the level here is just so freaking high.
Yeah.
What?
I said we should travel more.
We had some guys go and do the was it Kansas State Time Trial Championships or something? Yeah, I think Kansas. They went and drove through the Kansas and we took like 1 through 5. They had just done the Colorado Time Trial Championships, and I followed one of them in the car. Like I was all excited. It's like he's gonna win. He's gonna win. I was like in the car freaking out. Courtney's like, get your car off the course. Like somebody's gonna. This is not a pro race. And we get to the finish line. I'm like, you won. You know, and he's like 17th. You know, and I'm like, holy crap. Like they're so good here. But anything else? Thanks guys for listening to the rant. Appreciate it.